Oh no, I didn't think it was.
The leader has muted your line. To unmute your line, press #6.
Weather Service in Lake Charles, Louisiana, with our update on Tropical Storm Harvey as of 4:30 p.m. on Saturday, August 26th. Our opening slide here mentions that Harvey is a tropical storm and it's moving very slowly in central Texas. It will weaken to a tropical depression no later than Monday. It could weaken to that by tomorrow as it meanders in central Texas next week. It's not currently expected to come back in the Gulf of Mexico, but regardless of that, there's still a threat of heavy rains and floods in southeast Texas and parts of Louisiana. So we have updated storm total forecasts today through Friday. Southeast Texas, 10 to 18 inches. East Texas, 6 to 10 inches. Southwest Louisiana, 5 to 12 inches. South Central Louisiana, 4 to 9 inches. And Central Louisiana, 3 to 7 inches. We still are focusing on the possibility of major river flooding on Pine Island Bayou near Sour Lake. The storm surge threat appears to be decreasing. We're continuing our coastal flood advisory for another cycle through the high tides tonight and tomorrow morning. We're expecting 1 to 2 feet of water above ground level during these high tides, both this evening and again Sunday morning. There's also a tornado watch in effect until, I believe it's 2 a.m. There's also a small tornado threat across the remainder of the areas through the rest of tonight. All right, here we're looking at satellite imagery of Harvey. Harvey's inland. You can see a very large band indicated of the orange and reds. That's the higher, colder cloud top temperatures, and it's basically indicating where all the heavy rain is located. And we'll show you what it looks like locally here on our weather service radar here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. We got a large band of showers and a few thunderstorms lined up from Woodville down to the Divider area, and then it's extending offshore. Another band that's on the Louisiana side of it, from probably western Beauregard to Fields region, down across Benton, down to the Holly Beach. And then there's a third area that extends from Lake Charles region down to Rockefeller Refuge, and perhaps to Pecan Island. So we got a lot of activity on the radar. We have had several reports of tornadoes today. The pink on here indicates a current tornado warning. We have one out for portions of Orange County and Jasper County. The green boxes on here indicate the flash flood warnings. This is the current forecast track for Harvey. You can see the orange dot is where it's currently located, basically 60 miles east-southeast of San Antonio. The forecast track has it basically doing a slow curl in central Texas before it maybe dissipates or just continues to move in a slow northward track across Texas. And regardless of these scenarios, the main threats for us is going to be the rains. And so we're going to talk about that here in the next two slides. The first one shows how much rain has fallen in the past 2 days. In fact, the majority of this rain occurred in the last 1 day. So you can see the large numbers near the landfall location down there in the south central Texas coastline, where they got some spots upwards of 12 to 18 inches of rain. We don't see any white dots down there yet, which will indicate over 20 inches, but it should be getting there soon, I would imagine, later on this evening. The area of of red indicates over 6 inches of rain, and you can see that's a very large swath of the Texas coastline. It extends all the way from the Houston area. Here locally, you can see we have some yellows. The yellows indicate 3 inches of rain, and we do have a couple of pictures of 5, which is over 5 inches. That's shown on our next slide, which is zoomed in our area, indicating where some of the heavier rain bands have come through today. You can see there was a heavy rain band that extended from east of Woodville down through Spurger, through Evadale, down into Orange County, near Vidor, Orangefield. We were seeing a report earlier today about some flooding in the Orangefield area. 6 to 8 inches of rain is what was indicated by radar through that area there when the storms came through. Another band over in Louisiana from the Vinton area to Sulphur, down in the Hackberry, Grand Lake, Creole area is indicating 2 to 6 inches of rain there. And obviously, you look off to the west, you can see much larger numbers the closer you get to Houston. So here's our updated forecast numbers from tonight, 7 p.m. tonight through Friday, September 1st. We're basically having numbers ranging from about 4 inches in Alexandria, 6 inches Lafayette, 10 inches, almost 10 inches in Lake Charles, almost 18 inches in the Beaumont area, and about 6 or 7 inches up around Jasper. So we've got it broken down again. Here's the numbers for let me see what we got going on here. Yeah, Sunday, August 27th here. You can see less than half an inch of rain in Alexandria, about an inch of rain in Lafayette, 2.5 inches here in the Lake Charles region, over 6 inches in the Beaumont region, and about 1.5 to 2 inches up around East Texas. By Monday, we have the numbers going up in Alexandria to about 1 inch, a little over an inch in Lafayette region, about 2 inches in Lake Charles, 3 inches in Beaumont, 1.5 to 2 inches up in Jasper. Now we're looking at multiple days composites. This is Tuesday and Wednesday combined, so a little over an inch up in Alexandria, 1.5 inches probably in Jasper, and then you can see the down south we're looking at 2 to 3 inches basically along the I-10 corridor. For the Thursday and Friday time frame, the numbers are kind of oriented north to south, so the lower numbers, the 1 inch line is basically across our eastern area from Alexandria down to Lafayette, 2 inches across the Lake Charles region, and then a 3 inch bullseye down near the Beaumont area, and the remainder of southeast Texas. So here's a table version of that you can look at. You can kind of see the tweaking that's going on from one forecast shift to the next to give you an idea of when we see the heaviest rains for different locations. Obviously, for southeast Texas, the big numbers are still advertised to be coming in tomorrow because of the rain bands there, and they kind of hold some pretty decent numbers in the early part of next week for southeast Texas. Compare that to like southwest Louisiana. They've got the bigger numbers tomorrow, and then a little bit smaller numbers for the remainder of the work week next week. Here's the potential river flooding. We're looking at the potential of major flooding at the Sour Lake, Pine Island Bayou region, moderate flooding on the Neches River near Beaumont, Calcasieu at Old Town Bay, the West Fork at Sam Houston Jones State Park, Bayou Nepakay near Basile, and Bayou Duquesne near Eunice. And we'll be getting a new forecast on that tomorrow morning. The storm surge threat looks a little bit less. You can see by some of the colors here that we do not have any orange colors on the map, which is indicating 3 feet of water above ground level. So we're lowering the values to 1 to 2 feet above ground level, and the timing of it will be during the high tides tonight and tomorrow morning. The range of the high tides tonight will be between 7:19 and 9:03 p.m. across the region, and the high tide tomorrow morning will be 6:25 to 7:48 a.m. Sunday morning. The tornado threat's still ongoing. We have a tornado watch that's in effect until 2 a.m. You can see the coverage area there associated with the rain bands from down on the central Texas coast all the way up into our region. The threat tomorrow for severe weather and tornadoes will be pretty much the same area. Although you could say that the argument is getting closer to Lafayette as well, the darker shade of green indicates a 5% chance of isolated tornadoes. It does come into Acadia Parish, and it's really on the fringe of Lafayette Parish at that point. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have to extend that a little bit further east tomorrow. So stay tuned tomorrow for an update on that. So in summary, Harvey's a tropical storm now, moving very slowly in central Texas, about 60 miles east-southeast of San Antonio. It's going to weaken to a tropical depression either late tomorrow or Monday as it meanders in central Texas through next week. We're not expecting it to come back in the Gulf of Mexico, but the threat for heavy rains and floods will continue in southeast Texas and parts of Louisiana. The storm totals for Sunday through Friday: southeast Texas 10 to 18 inches, east Texas 6 to 10, southwest Louisiana 5 to 12, south central Louisiana 4 to 9, and central Louisiana 3 to 7, with the major flooding possible on Pond Bayou near Sour Lake. And the storm surge threat is decreasing. We're looking at 1 to 2 feet of water above ground level during the high tide this evening and Sunday morning. And we have a tornado watch out. There's a typo on this slide here. It's not till 1 p.m. It's till 2 a.m. late tonight. And there'll be a small tornado threat again during the day on Sunday. So the plan on our end is to do another Harvey briefing tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Let me unmute the lines here to see if anyone has any weather questions.
The leader has unmuted your line.
Obviously, the scenario, what we're going to be doing here with this presentation tomorrow, will be focusing on the floods, and if there's a tornado threat, we'll be focusing on that as well. So this is a rain predominant type briefing that we'll be doing for the next day or two until the threat dissipates. Any questions?
Okay, so we're down. Seems like the tidal surge threat is abated for the most part. I'm gonna let Andy just discuss anything else that he might be thinking about on this.
Okay, the main thing to think about here is the rain bands. You know, we saw a lot of the rain bands across southeast Texas today. One of them sort of got organized as well across extreme southwestern Louisiana. So, and we even had a couple of tornadoes along those rain bands. And those are the things we're going to be monitoring over the next several days, is how well these rain bands get organized as Harvey continues to weaken across Texas. And one thing you noted there, one of the most important things that Roger showed on the briefing was how much rain actually fell in Orange with just these rain bands today, 6 to 8 inches across Orange County. These rain bands can produce very significant rainfall amounts. We're talking easily 3 to 5 inches within an hour, and then if you add on another hour or two after that, that's where you start getting close to 6 to 10 inches as well. So that's just something that, you know, we need to keep in mind with these rain bands especially. So we're thinking that hopefully the rain bands will be a lot less organized tomorrow, but that's just something we're going to have to watch, especially Sunday into Monday as well.
Right, and there was a small tornado in the Hackberry area today. I think it was relatively minor damage, right, Andy?
Yes. Yes. This is what typically happens. We get these tornadic cells, and did do some damage. I believe it was a trailer that flipped over, and there was some roof damage we had reported as well. We also had some other tornado damage. I believe it was across parts of southeast Texas as well. Just one of the things about these tornadoes, as mentioned earlier, they're not going to be the big types you like see on the Weather Channel during their, you know, they're not going to be these big monster supercells. They're going to be very brief, cover a small area. They can do damage, but they will not do more of the widespread long track type of damage. So that's really the characteristic of these types of tornadoes.
Right. And as Andy said, we've gotten a significant amount of rain on the west side of the parish, actually kind of between Sulphur and Vinton. I talked to Chris, and he said, we all got about 2 inches in Vinton, Chris?
One rain gauge showed 2 inches. That's the most
Yeah, so right between Sulphur and Vinton, though, we've got about 6 inches, and there are some parish roads that have water on them, so we're going to be sending that list out, and we'll update that as we go. Does anyone have any other questions for Andy? Any weather questions? Anyone have any operational issues, questions? Okay, we'll be here tomorrow again for the 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock briefing if you'd like to come down. 10:30, I'm sorry, 10:30 and 4:30. Thank you.
Thank you.